Do you really think you love your dog? You take care of them every day. Feed them on time. Take them out for walks regularly. But maybe, just maybe, you're unintentionally hurting that little heart without even realizing it. There are things a dog can't say, but they remember every moment in their heart, especially the heartbreaking ones. They forgive so many things, even when you accidentally step on their tail or forget a meal. But there are 9 things, just 9, that, if you've done, they'll never forget, and maybe never forgive. And number 5 is something 80% of dog owners unknowingly do every single day. If you truly love your pet, stay until the end of this video. Because this might be the first time you see everything through the eyes of the dog you love most. Have you ever seen the eyes of a dog when locked behind a door? Not just sad eyes, but the eyes of a child abandoned in their own home. To a dog, you are not just an owner, you are their entire world. They don't understand temporary or punishment. They only know, I'm separated from the ones I love most. Sending a dog to the backyard or locking them in a crate because they're too hyper or just misbehaved is no different than saying, you're no longer a part of this family. I once met a dog that was kept in the backyard for 2 years. Every time the owner stepped outside, it celebrated like it had waited its whole life, but 3 minutes later, it was abandoned behind the door again. You know what? The tail still wagged, but the heart had dried out long ago. If a dog is having behavioral issues, don't isolate them. Spend time training them, or find a behaviorist to help you reconnect. The more you push them away, the more lost they become, and slowly, they lose their trust. Dogs don't need you to be perfect. They just need to know you're still there, beside them. But if that made your heart ache, the next thing silences millions of dogs in fear. Right in their own homes. Because sometimes, what hurts the most isn't silence, but the raised voice of the one they love most. Do you know what kills trust the fastest? It's not silence, but that moment when you raise your hand, and your dog looks at you. Not understanding what's happening. Many people think punishment is teaching. That yelling or light hitting will make the dog smarter. But to dogs, you're not teaching. You're teaching them to fear you. They don't understand you're mad about the rug being peed on. They only see your angry eyes, hear your rising voice, and their body starts to tremble. They don't know what they did wrong. They just know the love in your eyes disappeared. I once heard about a golden retriever, gentle and affectionate, but every time the owner raised their voice, the dog would instantly lie flat on the floor, trembling, ears pinned back. Not because it did something wrong, but because its past taught it that loud sounds equals danger. Instead of yelling, teach with love. Dogs learn fastest when praised. When encouraged, just one good boy and a pat on the head is more effective than any shout. There are no stubborn dogs, only hearts that haven't yet been gently guided. And if your voice can make your dog tremble, imagine what it feels like if you scold them when they're already scared. Because the next thing is what makes your dog not only heartbroken, but feel like they're not even allowed to be vulnerable in front of you. Have you ever seen your dog hide under the bed during a thunderstorm? Or tremble when the vacuum turns on? That's not being dramatic, it's a cry for help. And the most painful part is, many people scold them at that very moment of weakness. Stop it. What's there to be scared of? Whining again? Be quiet. Humans can speak their fears. But dogs, they only have their eyes, their drooping ears, and their curled up bodies. They don't need fixing, they need understanding. I once saw a corgi crawl into the bathroom every time it rained. The owner scolded it for making the floor wet, thinking it was acting spoiled. Only when someone else gently sat beside it, placed a hand on its back, and whispered, "It's okay, I'm here," did that dog finally breathe calmly again. When dogs are afraid, be their anchor, not the yelling voice. Sit beside them, gently touch their back, or just stay there, so they know you're not leaving. Dogs don't need someone strong, they just need someone who won't abandon them when they're scared. And if this feels familiar, try looking again at their safest space, that little cozy crate. Because if you've turned that place into a punishment zone, you've taken away the one place they thought they were allowed to feel safe. Do you remember the feeling as a child? Being sent to your room and the door slammed shut? Not because you needed rest, but because you did something wrong. Now imagine, every time you send your dog into the crate, you're saying, "I don't want to see you anymore." That crate, meant to be their safest place, where they curl up after a long day, has become a punishment corner. A place of loneliness. A place of exile. You don't see it, but I've seen it. A husky once curled up in the corner of its crate for 6 hours, didn't come out. Didn't eat. Didn't make a sound. Just because the last time it was locked in there was after breaking a glass cup. Let's redefine the crate. Make it a place they love, not fear. Add soft blankets, favorite toys, some treats. And above all, never let "get in your crate" become a phrase of terror. A peaceful place can't exist if your heart makes it scary. And if the crate is no longer their safe haven, then it's time to examine something even worse. When even your presence no longer makes them feel loved. Have you ever waited all day just to hug someone? But when they got home, they walked right past you. Didn't look, didn't touch, didn't say a word? To a dog, that happens every time you come home and don't even notice the wagging tail. Not because you're mean, but because you're too busy. Busy with work, busy with your phone, busy being tired. But while you have the whole world out there, they only have you. You are their morning, their meals, their laughter, their reason to live each day. I once cared for a little dog. Every morning it waited for its owner to open the bedroom door. One day, the owner overslept, and the dog sat quietly by the door for 4 hours. Unmoving, no whining, no barking, just waiting. You don't need to do anything big. Just 3 minutes of play in the morning. A glance, a "hey baby," or if you're too busy, give them a toy, stuff some peanut butter in a Kong, or hire someone to walk them at noon. Dogs aren't mad when you're not home. They're sad when you come home and your heart isn't with them anymore. And if that felt gentle, wait for what comes next. Because it's not just ordinary neglect, it's the heartbreaking misunderstanding. When you think they're lazy, while their body is silently crying out for help. Have you ever felt too tired or had a headache in the morning and just didn't want to get up? Now imagine someone walking into your room, pulling off your blanket, and yelling, "Lazy bum." How would you feel? Dogs feel the same. They don't know how to say, "I'm in pain." They just lie there, skip meals, their eyes heavy with fatigue. They slow down when they walk, or stay in one place, not their usual self. And sadly, many people scold them at those moments. Get up. Why are you so lazy? What now? Acting up again? I once met a little poodle, didn't play like usual for days. The owner thought she was sulking, so ignored her. By the time the dog was shaking with a high fever, it was too late. She had acute pancreatitis, quiet, lingering pain no one heard. If your dog suddenly changes behavior, don't jump to conclusions. Take them to the vet. Ask questions instead of making judgments. Is she uncomfortable somewhere? When was the last time I checked her teeth, nails, or skin? They're not being stubborn, sometimes. The pain inside them is too quiet, while our minds are too loud to listen. And if that left a lump in your throat, brace yourself, because the next one isn't the biggest mistake, but it's the one most often overlooked. They cry for help, but you don't see it. Sometimes, you're curled up watching TV, while your dog stands silently nearby, staring at you, tail still. No whining, no barking, just standing there, waiting for something you don't understand. You think, maybe she's hungry. You offer food, she doesn't eat. You turn back to the screen, and miss a silent scream for help. Dogs can't speak, but they cry out through their eyes, their movements, and unusual behavior. Scratching at the door repeatedly, circling around you, hiding under the table, licking their paws until they're red and raw. I once cared for a Labrador. One day, she just sat outside the bathroom with her head down. Everyone thought she was sleepy. Hours later, she vomited yellow bile. Her liver was failing, and she had already tried to tell us, we just didn't listen. So how do you listen when they can't talk? Notice what's different in their eyes, their steps, their breathing. Know their habits well enough to spot even the slightest change. And if something feels off, don't wait. Act. Sometimes, the silence in a dog's eyes is the loudest cry. If you've ever missed a signal like that, you're not alone. But it gets worse if you also let them face their fears without you stepping in to protect them. Imagine walking on the street. A stranger suddenly yells and raises their hand to hit you. You look to the person beside you for help, but they just smile and say, "Oh, it's fine, they're just joking." In that moment, you realize you're on your own. That's how dogs feel too. When another dog growls, chases, or attacks them, they don't just feel scared. They're waiting for you to act. To step in, block it, or simply call them back. Pick them up, and say, "It's okay. I've got you." But if you just stand there, laugh, or worse, walk away, then in their mind, you're no longer the protector. You're the first one they look to, but you didn't protect them. I once saw a Chihuahua get knocked over by a big dog at the park. She wasn't injured, but after that, she'd back away and tremble at the sight of any large dog. Worse, she started avoiding her owner too. Because in that moment, there was no one to stand behind. When your dog is afraid, be there. Pull them close. Create distance from the threat. If needed, leave the area, and spend a few minutes afterward petting and comforting them. Like the hero they believe in. Trust isn't built on happy moments. It's built in the times when you don't let anyone hurt them. And if that made you pause for a moment, the next one is an invisible wound. Piercing a dog's pride. Because nothing hurts more than being compared to another dog. Her dog is so well behaved. Potty trained by 3 months. Our neighbor's dog runs way faster than you. Try to keep up. You may think it's just a harmless joke. But to a dog, even if they don't understand every word, they feel one thing clearly: I'm not good enough. They hear your tone, sense the change in your gaze when you look at someone else's dog. They notice you petting the other dog longer, smiling more, your eyes softer, and then they shrink back, go quiet, become less enthusiastic. They withdraw because they feel like they're no longer your pride. I once saw a dog stop asking for morning cuddles just because the day before, the owner praised a new puppy for being nicer, cuter. The owner didn't mean to hurt, but the dog remembered. She felt it, and it broke her heart. Dogs don't need to be the best in the neighborhood. They just need to know, in your eyes, they are the most special being in the world. Instead of saying, "Why can't you be good like that other dog?" try saying, "It's okay. We'll learn together. Thank you for trying your best today." Some hearts would never crack if we simply stopped in time and offered a gentle word. We don't have to be perfect. But if you're still watching this far, I believe you are exactly the kind of person your dog trusts and hopes for. You've just gone through 9 things a dog may never forget. Not because they hold grudges, but because they love you too much to let go. They don't need you to be perfect. They just need you to listen. To understand a little. To soften a little. To be patient a little. Because to them, you are their entire life. If you've made one of these mistakes, don't blame yourself. You're learning how to love again, in the language of a heart that doesn't speak. And if something in this video stopped you in your tracks, try hugging your dog tonight. No need to say anything, just be there. They'll understand. A good owner isn't someone who's never made mistakes. It's someone who learns to love in a better way. And if you felt this video touched something in your heart, share it with a fellow dog parent. Because who knows, you might help another dog be loved better, understood better, and feel safer than ever before.